This ain't my business, but
it is my business.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, just like the river I've been riding ever since. It's been a long time coming. But I know change gonna come. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. Then I go to my brother. I said, brother, I said, sister, help me, please. Oh, my brother, my friend, my so-called friend, they end up knocking me right back down on my knees. Well, there were times that I thought I would last for long. I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
That's crazy. That's crazy. This another episode of That Ain't My Business.
But let's talk about it.
It's your boy Pacman, the Hood's voice box, you know what I'm talking about?
And it's your boy Nesto the Dun coming out this Motion City where they still trying to be ratchet.
Ooh. Yeah, so who do we have with us today? You care to introduce yourself to our audience?
All right. First of all, I'm Alvin Oliver, the newly elected president of the Shreveport branch NAACP 6078B.
Lester Smith, newly elected vice president of the Shreveport NAACP.
And I'm Larry Ellis, newly elected second vice president of the Shreveport chapter of the NAACP.
Okay, and I'd like to tell you, man, that was beautiful. You know what I'm talking about? You let me know that we got real talent here in Shreveport, Louisiana.
That's right.
And you say they call you Larry Ellis. Your name is Larry Ellis, but they call you Larry the Voice.
Yes, my government name is Larry Ellis. When I get them checks, it says Larry Ellis.
Okay.
But my name, most people call me, and I go by Larry the Voice.
Yeah, well, you earned that name.
Yeah.
I give you that. Yeah, you earned that name. The song that you sung, Sam Cooke, A Change Is Gonna Come, it has a historical presence here in Shreveport, Louisiana, because it was based upon, I care to tell the story.
Yeah, it's based on Sam Cooke was here in Shreveport doing a show and was turned away by a motel here. And the clerk turned him away. They wouldn't rent him a room as a black man. And he left Shreveport and wrote this hit, A Change Is Gonna Come.
Okay.
And it's become a huge hit, in every movie. It's very iconic in the movie. And was it Malcolm X?
Yeah, Malcolm
X. And that scene right there, man. So yeah, it's a very powerful song, and it's important. It's a very, very important song to myself and the president and vice president of the chapter, because that's a change is going to come. All new administration, man. We sweeped it.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy. Yeah, everybody up here is newly elected, so this is most definitely a change. This is a fresh start. I want to give a quick little insight. That movie you speaking of, Malcolm X. Actually, one of the first bigger books I ever read was a book called Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? And after I read that book, I was like, man, I was real intrigued by this dude, and I went in to the library, and they had the movie as well, and it was 2 CDs. I remember it well because it was a long movie, real long movie. It was 2 CDs, and I watched both of them, and I remember that song, and that was what that was what inspired me as far as even caring about black people and what as far as like advancing black people, period.
Yeah.
Was the Malcolm X book, and then I went and seen Malcolm X the movie.
Man, powerful.
So here being that you all are newly elected in the NAACP, because you got the Real Talk Radio, right?
Yeah, keeping it real.
Keeping it real. We keep it real here too.
Absolutely.
So the NAACP hasn't necessarily had the best people haven't spoke the best of the NAACP in this region. Many people say that they're an ancient organization. With you new at the head of this chapter, what do you say to that? And will there be changes that we can look forward to here in the Shreveport chapter of the NAACP?
All right. Yeah, I'll speak briefly to that and let these guys speak to it. But changes are already happening, Robert. But to be honest with you, we can't go back and undo what's happened in the past, and so we won't try to. But what we can tell you is that this new NAACP, we're rebranding it. The NAACP, there's new leadership. The past branches, they didn't get the numbers like they should have. They weren't out in the community. Folks weren't motivated to join. And so what we're doing, like I said, we're rebranding this thing. We're going to fill our executive committee with very highly educated, highly qualified. What I want is, but it's up to the team, is mostly women. But what we also want to do, Robert, what we're doing, this is a new time, a new climate. We want to fill the NAACP with young folks like yourself. All of us are getting older. And so it's going to be up to the young folks to carry the branch forward. And so we want to fill it with young people who love the community like yourself, like Nesto. We want to fill it with young folks that's motivated and energized to see the black community thrive. And that's what we're going to make sure happens. And just so you know, we've talked to the district attorney. In fact, we talked to Sheriff Whitehorn. We met with him today. We're going to be meeting with the chief of police, Wayne Smith, the mayor, city council, commission. We're going to be going into the black communities, to the friendship houses, to the rec centers, to HUD, housing development. And we're going to be addressing the needs of the people. We're going to go to VOTEC. We're going to have these community meetings. The other branches didn't do that. But we're going to make sure we do that. And we're going to have highly skilled, highly qualified women and men on the NAACP. We're going to have older women, and we want to bring on younger women. We're going to have older men, and we're going to bring on younger men, hopefully like yourself. Because,
I signed up.
Yeah, so you all can learn from the older folks, and the older folks can learn from you all. We want one body, one voice to speak for the community for far too long. Like we told the guy we interviewed with yesterday, we hear from past leaderships talk about what they want to do for the black community, and the black community is steady dying. It's not thriving. And so we want to, a lot of times, Robert, you see the NAACP show up on the scene to put out a fire, right? They show up on the scene when somebody is shot or hurt or killed or treated unjustly. But we want to practice fire prevention. We want to stop things from starting before they start. And so we meeting with those leaders that I told you about, and we want to build a bridge. We want to form a coalition, a united front, if you will, so that all of us can help Shreveport thrive. We're also in NAACP. We know that, you know that the NAACP stands for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. But we're just not about colored people, because colored people started the NAACP with white people. So we're about all people joining the NAACP who believe in the movement and who want to take this city forward. Not just the white communities, but we want our focus is on the black community. We're the community that's not thriving. We're the community where folks are dying. Not only is the community dying, too many black boys and girls are dying, and we want to change that dynamic. And for those we can work with, we will work with, but we tell them that, hey, listen, we're going to politely, respectfully call on you. And if you don't help us, then we're going to have to call some people out.
So let me ask you real fast, and correct me if I'm wrong. So basically you're saying, when you say you want y'all about all people, you're saying that white people, Asian people, Mexican, whatever the case may be, as long as they're on board with the advancement of colored people in that agenda, then you're welcoming to them being a part of the organization? Or are you saying that your focus is something else?
No, my focus is just what you said the first time. Because if you think about it, there are poor white people in the black community. There are poor white communities. There's poor Asian communities. There are poor Latino communities. They don't have a voice. So it's for the advancement of colored people, right? We're color. What color are we? We're black. They are colored people. They're Mexican. They are colored people. They're Asian. But we're all people. And we're for the advancement of all people, not just black people. But our primary focus is to make sure that our people, black people, are taken care of, and that we thrive, and that our communities thrive. We're tired of watching people, Robert, come into our communities, suck our resources dry, and leave the community looking like it is. Like Lester told one of the interviewers yesterday, we've had leadership that we've had over the past 20 years. But the only people that's thriving is the leadership. The black community is not thriving, but we're going to start holding people accountable. It starts also with the people in the community, because if you continue to put the same people in office who promising you, that you're going to thrive, and at the end of their first term, you ain't thriving, and you put them in another term and you still ain't thriving, who is that on? That's on, the onus is on you, because you keep doing the same thing, but you expecting a different result. They call that insanity. So, yeah, so we're for all people, Robert, but we welcome everybody who wants to join the NAACP. You want to speak to that?
That's right. One of the biggest things we have to do, there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect, as President said, is that we don't have young people participating, because the NAACP doesn't have the best image. So one of the things that we're going to do, we're going to make sure that we put some programs in place and make sure that we change the trajectory and make sure that we're putting out positive images, make sure that we're putting out programs, partnering with other organizations.
Like Best 13?
Hey, that's yeah, you're right. We are. That's one of them. We are. That's one. I think what's happened over the years is that the same folks been eating, and they've been eating good. And so they have not allowed other people to come to the table. Where we're going to change the narrative, my thing is I always say, stop waiting for a seat at the table. Bring your own table. And when you have your own table, you're able to bring the people to the table that you know deserve a piece of the pie. And I think we have to understand, as African Americans, all we need is each one of us need a piece of a pie. And so the problem is the other people been getting the whole pie, and they just been giving us scraps. And we've been okay with it. And you can look at our communities. I'm from originally, Robert, from Alexandria. I've been in Shreveport since '99, so I've been here for 25 years. And I love Shreveport. Even with all the craziness, I love Shreveport. And I guess because I didn't grow up here, and I can see the beauty in Shreveport, the potential that Shreveport has. A lot of times when I run up on people that's been here their whole life, I guess they're inside the situation. They're helpless. They're like, man, Shreveport is trash. I'm like, it's not. This is a diamond in the rough, and we got to go ahead on and pull that diamond out of, a diamond, a cubic zirconia is perfect. It's a cubic zirconia, it's fake. A diamond has imperfections. And that's what makes a real diamond. And so we have to, when I look at Shreveport, I think of a diamond. We just have to clean it off, get it shined up. We got to put in the work. And we're willing and able to do the work. What really made me come on board with our president-elect and our vice president is that they were already doing the work. And I think when people run for office, we're putting people in office in organizations, downtown city council, commission. We're putting people that look good on paper, but they ain't done no work. And then they're not yielding results, and then we get mad. And so that's called, as Lester said earlier, that's called when you keep doing the same thing, getting the same results. That's insanity. And so we as a people, we've allowed it. And so I am so glad to be a part of a change, of a new administration that's going to come in, and man, we're ready to change the city.
Heard that.
Yes.
Yeah, and all I can do is piggyback because so many good things have been said. But the main thing is our focus has to be on our young people because so many of us are dying off and getting old. And we don't train our people, so therefore we have no experienced people to take the mantle once we're gone. So our focus should be not so much as to talk about young people, but to sit and listen to our young people for us to formulate an agenda for all people. But we want to make an agenda but not include certain people at the table. That's what's going on. That's why we have what we have in our city, the hopelessness, the despair, and all of the negativity that you see. Because people want to make a decision for people but not have invited those people to the table to say what they need and how they need it and when they need it, where they need it at. You're just making this. You're not making decisions because the decision is being made that I'm gonna keep whatever I got up here. And so with this administration, we are going to say it has to be equal across the board. You can no longer pour water on our head, pour milk on our head and tell us it's raining. So we're not buying that anymore. We are saying, either you get on board with what we're trying to do, especially to these so-called gatekeepers, these elected officials, these people who are holding us back. They're the greatest enemy of all, of the gatekeepers, the so-called people that are in leadership position. They're our biggest problem because they're not producing anything and they don't want to see anybody else with an idea come along that maybe will produce something, and they're scary. They scared that if Alvin get it, or I get it, or Larry get it, we're going to be bigger and bury them. So they do all they can to fight you, to hold you back. We don't care. We know you're not going to give up your power. Just hand it over. We know you're going to offer some resistance. So what we are as a team, we're prepared to go in and demand what rightfully belongs to the peoples of Shreveport. And like Alvin say, we have to look at our city as it is. It's a melting pot. You got hurting white people. You got hurting Mexicans. You got hurting Asians. You got all these people are hurting. They need help. And we got to get away from black and white issues and deal with human right issues. Everybody is human being on this earth that classify themselves as people. And we have to be willing to address those issues as an NAACP and stop looking at things from the NAACP from black and white issues. No, it's a human right issue that we have to address.
All right, so I would say this as far as I hear you on the black and the white, and I do believe that it would be more effective to come at things from a class issue rather than a race issue, because race divides and class brings together. Sure. So that makes sense. My issue would be that here in Shreveport, it's the communities filled with black people that seem to be doing the worst.
True.
I heard you speak about gatekeepers. I heard you speak about involving young people. Are there any specific young people that you've been working with or that you have in mind that you want to bring along board? And are there any specific gatekeepers that the people need to know these people are in the way?
Well, let me tell you this, Robert, and we did a show Tuesday, yesterday, as a matter of fact, right? Yes. We did our show yesterday, and some of the people that we said we were gonna link up with, Robert just letting us know he don't watch our show. Because you one of the people that we said
no, it's not that. I'm gonna tell you what it is. We got two different audiences, so we want our audience to hear what you said on your show as well.
Okay. Well, we said we're gonna hook up with Robert Bruchon or Nesto. We said we're going to hook up with the folks from Ain't My Business. We said we're going to hook up. We already hooked up with MJ. We said we're going to hook up with all the best 13. We said we're going to hook up. We did say we're going to hook up with folks like Big Fella because we're going to hook up people like Pac, because y'all are connected to the young folks.
Tupac, talking about Taylor.
Pac, Tupac. Bobby Foster Jr., all them boys, I know all of them. We from where everybody else from. Hell, I'm from right around the corner. Right? And so, but one thing we also know, Robert.
He hate the people that know exactly where we at.
I ain't telling what we was. I'm just saying.
But nah,
it's a group. It's a group of people that don't like him that's looking for him.
Hey, y'all, we on the Cooper Road. but Robert, let me say this, and also y'all, we just not listen. The NAACP, to do the things that we want to do, right? We talked about having to build bridges and build coalitions, right? And building bridges and coalitions, that means we're going to need sponsors, black and white. We're going to need dollars to be effective to get the things done that we need done. For so many years, the NAACP, man, could only get black sponsors and black dollars. Now, on a national scale, they start to see white dollars. And so we know if we go, the name of our show is Keeping It Real, y'all keep it real too. One of the hardest things it is for black folks to do is to do what? Turn loose that dollar. You see what I'm saying? And so we're going to be going after, businesses for sponsorship dollars. Because in order to move things along and help the black community thrive, it's gonna take money. A lot of the money starting out gonna have to come out of our own pockets, because we have no money, and the money that we do have is thanks in part to what he and his wife have done. They're also responsible for our yearly banquet, and they put on a banquet like nobody's ever seen, and the money that we have is because of the money that he and his wife raised throughout the banquet. And so that's a start, and as we tell people, listen, we'll take the kind that jingle, but we need the kind that fold to move the black community along. And that's our goal. Amen. And one of the things that we promise, I told people they can hold me accountable, him accountable. Unlike past administrations, we're not talking about them. The past is the past. But the difference between us and them is we're going to do what we say we're going to do. We don't need titles for a resume. You understand? I own a trucking company. Have for the past 25 years here. I'm retired military. I don't have a job, so I don't need that on my resume like some folk wanted the title president on their resume. He's a top-selling realtor. He and his wife, he doesn't need it. Lester's very, very well off. He doesn't need, so we don't need titles to make us. We've already been doing the work, Robert, in the community. You out here stomping the pound in the pavement when you were doing your thing with that other group, right? So we all saw each other out here doing the work. And it's just that now We got the title of the NAACP behind us to be able to push us forward. It will get us in more doors. It will allow us to get the sponsorship dollars to go towards helping the black community thrive. We gonna do what we say we gonna do. We gonna have these meetings with these leaders. We gonna form a coalition. We gonna build these bridges. And we gonna link up with young folks like yourself, and we gonna move this doggone branch forward if it kills me.
Okay. And before y'all chime in, this question might seem trivial, but what is that? I always want to know, what is that that I always be playing? That little sound that it be
That means somebody texting me.
Oh, that's your text.
I tell them stop texting me during the show.
Yeah, because I used to think it was just some sound you play doing your show or something.
Yeah. My phone, man.
Oh, okay.
Well, you quick to tell me cut mine off.
And one thing to piggyback on what Alvin said, we're going to hit the ground rolling. We're going to we know we're new, but we're going to hit the ground. So we are partnering with the Mystic Crew of Imani. That's the newest crew, Mardi Gras crew here in Northwest Louisiana. I'm one of the founders, the visionary, and I'm the captain. And so we have a MLK resource fair on January 20th, MLK Day. And my president is leading the charge for us to be, for NAACP to co-sponsor this event. It's going to be on the Cooper Road, USA. And every year we're going to take it to a different community. So next year we may do Hollywood, next year Queensboro, next year Cedar Grove. It's resource fair, free food, bounce houses, free health screening, vendors, workshops, financial literacy, face painting, community entertainment, giveaways, and that's going to be at the David Raines Community Center on Monday, January 20th for MLK Day.
I heard that.
Yeah, so we're going to hit the ground.
Okay. Next year, it's going to be in Motown.
In Motown. That's right.
That's my home. I got to represent home.
That's right.
We really have to be about the business of not talking about it, but be about it. We got a lot of people talking, but they ain't producing nothing. You know what I'm saying? And you guys, you young people, y'all hip to the game. Y'all know what's going on. Y'all know sound bites, pretty words. Y'all hip to that. And that's what we get a lot of, pretty words with no substance. So we got to get away from that. We got to get some real people in these positions that want to see change. It's one thing to say, I won't change. But it's another thing when you start taking the steps to make change happen. And those things are not happening. Change is happening, but it's not happening for the masses. The same people that the trial continue to eat, nobody else is allowed to eat. That's not change. But you ran on them, I'm going to make a difference. We have got to hold these people accountable. We have got to hold ourselves accountable. See, we can't talk the talk. You all have got to demand that we talk the talk, but we got to walk the walk. And that's what's being missing in our community. We talk the talk, but you all don't hold us accountable.
Well, let me ask this question. I don't know if y'all been seeing on the news lately and up on the social networks. It's been a lot of violence with like the younger crowd, like from let's say like 15 to 21, and people are like, some people blaming it on the kids' parents, some people blaming it on the environment. Do y'all have any plans to kind of like help the violence stop a little bit or to calm it down? Because I know it ain't just gonna stop completely.
Yeah, so we do have one of the things we're going to talk about, and one thing our president always talk about, even on the radio show, is mental health. Mental health is affecting the black community like never before, and it's because we don't talk about it. And you have to treat mental health just like you do diabetes, just like you do heart disease, whatever you got going on, sickle cell. It's a disease, and we don't talk about mental health in the black community. And so for many, many years, people, you're just crazy. No, you got a sickness, and we got to treat it. And I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier. There's a disconnect. There's a disconnect between the older and the younger. And we're not connecting. There's not a connection there. And so one of the initiatives that we do have a youth council that will be starting for the NAACP within the first quarter. That's going to be one of the initiatives that we have. We're going to have a youth council, mental health workshops, and we're going to have some town hall meetings. We're going to do a series of town hall meetings for the NAACP, so we can go into the communities and talk to the people, and we're not going to worry about what the city council and the other people are not doing and our leaders. We're going to do that. So we're going to have a series of town hall meetings and go to the community and see what the community need. But that's something that we just had a murder. One of my good buddies, Barber, rest in peace to his son, Justin Ware. His son was killed drive-by. And so I think as of right now, we're almost at 55 murders just for 2024 in Shreveport. We don't talk about that. And a lot of times when these murders happen, we know who's doing it, but we don't say anything. So we have to speak up. This is our community.
And our Nesto, let me tell you that, again, like I said, we met with Sheriff Whitehorn and his undersheriff, Rick Ferris, this morning, and Josh Williams. And one of the things that the sheriff said to us, and we're all going to meet up again with the sheriff, the whole team. We had already had something else scheduled. Is why we met with him. But one of the things the sheriff told us that he need out here in the community, y'all, he said he needs some disruptors, or interrupters. And I said, tell me what you mean, disruptors or interrupters. He said, we need some young folks out here talking to these young folks. Some young folks who can reach these young folks. So we know y'all may know some young folks who can get out here and talk to these young folks, because they acknowledge that they don't know the young folks, and that maybe we have that connection. And so, like we told him, like he just told you, and I told you earlier, we're going to be going to the rec centers, and doing these community meetings. We're going to be going to the friendship houses. I noticed the friendship house in Cedar Grove has a lot of young folks over there. The friendship house up by the Job Corps, I see a lot of young folks there. And we're going to be having these community meetings talking about conflict resolution, dropping the guns. We saw some pictures at the sheriff department today of a recent arrest of a young black boy, right? That boy was sitting on the counter, much like that one over there, with a ski mask on, taking a picture, and all kinds of assault weapons were laid out everywhere. But what we know is that that young boy ain't got access to all of those weapons. Somebody put that in that boy's hand, right? And so we a couple of months ago, and not even a month ago, in Southern Hills area, they raided a guy's home, a white guy, and I think they found around 60 or so assault weapons. So we know that it's folks like him who's got that access to get that. And what he's probably doing, he's probably a distributor of those things into our black community, right? And man, we know that these young kids, like Larry spoke about mental health, back then, mental health was not a thing, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of these kids come from broken homes. You know what I'm saying? A single parent home. A lot of them don't have guidance. A lot of them barely eat at night. Don't know where the next meal gonna come from. A lot of them got mamas that's on drugs. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them got people that get incarcerated. And one thing that we know, Robert and Ernesto, is that when you hungry, you gonna eat. When you ain't got the money to buy it and you hungry, you gonna eat. Even if you got to take it for somebody, even if you possibly have to hurt somebody to get it. And so other than just meeting, we didn't have enough meetings. When we do meet, we want to be able to bring them some meat. You understand? Bring them some education, bring them some options, and let them know, hey, man, listen, y'all a priority. We done been where y'all been. You understand? And so, and that's what we said, talked to the sheriff about today. We told the sheriff, and we had to be straight up. We said to the sheriff that we hear black leadership, and I got to be honest, Larry, we hear black leadership talking about the black community thriving, but it seems like the only ones thriving is the black leadership, not the black community. And so we want to be a part of that and try to do what we can. We want to turn these kids onto some job opportunities. We want to turn these kids onto some, education, some training to get them some jobs. So we're gonna, but I also, Robert, we got to hold the kids accountable. Listen, it doesn't matter if you're 15. You got sense enough to know right from wrong. So sometimes, a single mother has raised children. My mother raised 8 of us single-handedly by herself. Some of us strayed. I was one who strayed, but I got back on track. And so when you old enough to know better, you should do better. Or older, you know, I always say, Robert, do you have to touch it? My mama used to say this to me. Fool, do you have to touch a hot stove twice when you knew it was hot the first time? Mm-hmm. So, you know, some lessons have to be bought. But for those that we can help to save, man, we're going to do our level best to help save them and to bring down this doggone crime.
Let me, with the, you was touching on the mental health aspect. You know, like in our community, the mental health thing is looked down upon. Most black people don't want to seem like they crazy or something. You know what I'm saying? And with the part what you was talking about, Whitehorn said he need younger people to talk to the youth. Like the people that they are actually listening to, they right there in CCC. Most of the local rappers, you know what I'm saying? Them the only type of people they'll probably listen to, but I wouldn't say that I would actually want them to talk to them because they probably ain't ready to get up on that right track and stay out of trouble. Yeah. It's some that probably they can talk to, probably like Ratchet Low, who doing this thing right now, but that's who the younger people look up to. That's who they want to be like. That's why they going to get all these guns and want to steal cars and joyride and all that, because they trying to be like their favorite artists.
These local artists y'all talking about?
Yeah.
And to speak towards that, what you were saying with like the interrupters or disruptors, what I would like people like Whitehorn and others in those positions to understand roles. Now, we have to allow people to play their role if you want progress. And I always speak to this. Is do you want to sound good or do you want to actually be effective? Because this is the thing. Let's say you want me to go talk to some of the young people, right? You can't ask me at the same time to inform on these people. You can't tell me to tell the police on people and then think I'm going to have any credibility when I go talk to them. Mm-hmm. They're not going to want me around, let alone even talk.
That just happened up on TV, on CSI. You know, they keep letting Ice-T go around and getting told on everybody.
Yeah, that's not how life works. You know what I'm saying? Not how the streets work. And only way you can affect murders in the streets is if you're able to get in those streets with those people. In those areas. You know what I'm saying? Now, there are people that...
Give them something else to do. Give them an opportunity to make some money. They're going to stop doing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm not saying... and what I'm not saying is that there's nobody that should tell. I'm not saying whether you should or shouldn't tell. I'm just saying it's certain people that can't. I can't. I'm telling you the truth. Yeah. I can't be one of the ones that's telling on nobody.
Yeah. And like I think like instead of like, I know like y'all say y'all want to help all people, you know, all youngsters, but maybe we need to target the ed trouble youth, because the ed trouble youth, the one that's steering the ones that's on the right path off the right path. Mm-hmm. If we take care of them, we got to worry about the ones that's on the right path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, and we talk about you talking about at-risk youth, peer pressure, all this stuff, man, and we get what you're saying, Robert. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But you know, again, we're absolutely, Nesto, going to target the at-risk youth, man. We're going to come up, like I said, man, listen, we got I promise y'all, and y'all going to see it, we got some of the sharpest people, man. I mean, the sharpest people that we going to feel with this board that may think about something that I don't, that may think about something that he don't. You know what I'm saying? And so, but who may have the reach in this area that I don't, or have the reach, you know what I mean? And so we're gonna all bring that all together. But what you gonna see the NAACP, because everywhere we go, we gonna have on paraphernalia, and we gonna have a banner. We gonna create a newsletter. We gonna do everything we possibly can to get out here, get to these youngsters, and we know we can't just. They done heard all the talking. They need something, like he said, they need something tangible, something they can taste and see. They need, you can tell a kid all doggone day, you shouldn't be fighting, you shouldn't be shooting, you shouldn't be killing. But hell, until you do something to put some money in his pocket, how you gonna tell him don't go rob somebody if you ain't helping him eat? You know what I'm saying? And so we understand that, you know what I'm saying? But again, who is the onus on? You know right from wrong. Understand the consequences of your wrong. Kids need to know that with this new technology, this new technology, all of this new DNA stuff, you can commit a crime. You're not gonna get away. You're not getting away with crime. And particularly, Ernesto, here in Louisiana, they need to realize. You can ask these youngsters. Y'all know this. Who is Governor Jeff Landry? They haven't a clue who Jeff Landry is. But I guarantee you, when they get their behind in that system, they gonna know who Jeff Landry is. We just did a report yesterday on a 15-year-old boy being charged as an adult for murder. No longer, like I said, Jeff Landry then came in and changed the landscape. These young kids need to know, if you shoot somebody, you not finna go to juvenile till you 18 and get out. You going to the big boy prison and you going for the long ride if they don't give you death row no more. This governor wants to put death row back on the table, and it is back on the table. These people need to know that no longer do you have good time. It ain't no more 2 for 1 or 3 for 1. You gonna do day for day in that prison. You gonna spend the rest of, when they say the rest of your life, you gonna spend the rest of your life. They need to know that when they come up for parole, ain't no more two of the 3 people can say you can come home. All 3 of them got to say you can come home. If 2 say you can come home and 1 say you stay, guess what? You gonna stay. And so they need to learn the consequences. Hey, listen, we got a whole new legislature, whole new Senate. We got a whole new governor down there, and he is crazy about prisons. We're building more prisons. They're building another jail. They just told us yesterday over there for women over in Mendon. And so, listen, as my mama used to say, Robert, there's 2 places that gonna hold you. It's jail and prison. And so we want to reach these kids. We want to put these fires out, man, like we said, before they start. We don't want to just show up after the fires happen. And with people like you, we know what you can and can't do. But we know you know some people who can do it. Same thing with Nesto. Y'all young folks, y'all connected to a lot of these young rappers who got their ear to the streets. I watch y'all show all the time. I see these young women rappers, the young guy rappers out here. I see y'all talking to city leaders. So y'all got a connection out here. And with y'all's connection and our connection and other folks' connection that y'all connected to, guess what that's doing? That's building the bridge. That's building the coalition. And so with all of us working together, guess what? We can get something positive done.
Right. And yeah, and I'm glad y'all out here too, because like even with Lester, one of the most impressionable memories that I have of him, like I don't know if this was my first time or we met before this or not, but I know this was the most impressionable. It was when we were looking for that girl in Moortown. And
Shamaya Little.
Correct. And doing that because it I forgot, somebody was bringing your name up. That's what made me think about it. But it showed that you were actually out there in the community, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I'm knowing you all will be out there in the community, and that will be a huge difference. Like you said, y'all gonna have on the, and that's gonna make people notice you all. What I was gonna speak towards was, I think you said, I'm trying to get to my exact point I was on. I know you said it was something about, goddamn, it was something about the mental. It wasn't mental health though. It was something else. But anyway, all right. When it come to me, it'll come to me. But basically, what I was gonna say was, I'm glad y'all out there in the community, because what we're gonna need is for those connections to be broadcasted, if you will. So I'll give you an example. It's this guy in Chicago, FY, they call him FYBJ, man. He's like a rapper. He was a gangster rapper, slash comedian type dude, right? And what he does is his neighborhood and another neighborhood basically were at war. It's many people dead between the two friends, you know. But he going inside the other community saying, you know, we want peace. We want to let the kids be able to play again. Right. And many people criticize him because it's a camera everywhere he goes, right? But what people don't realize about that is when you broadcast things of this sort, then you show other people that, oh, it is cool. It is okay that we can do this, because peer pressure is one of the strongest things that young people have to deal with. And now they just put my idea back in my head. A lot of times we have to be very intentional about what we do and how we teach children, because the brain is not finished developing until at least 25, right? And what people don't understand is the last part to develop is the decision-making part. So due to that fact, we got a lot of young people out here running around, and we're expecting them to make great decisions, and that part of the brain isn't even developed yet.
And you know what the problem is? This phone. When we were coming up, you had to go outside to get in trouble. Now all you do is pick up this phone, and you have Instagram, and you have Facebook, and now you have TikTok, and then you got Snapchat. You got so many different ways for the people to get in trouble. And a lot of times our young people, they see Mr. Lester pull up in his nice car. I ain't gonna say the kind of car he got. He got a nice sports car. They see people pull up in a nice car. They see all the glam. The young ladies see it on Facebook. You see the BBLs. Everybody, you know, everything is so glamorized now, but they don't know the story behind it. All they see is the end result. And it goes back to what you were saying with the peer pressure. I mean, it's crazy. It's just right here. And I think even with the fights, man, we all got in fights growing up. And the next day was best friends with the guy we had a fight with. Now people don't fight. They just start shooting. And so it's disconnect. Nobody's playing basketball. And I think that's one of the things we have to help them find an outlet. Every young man's not going to be a basketball player, football player. I'm not an athlete, but I was able to find my outlet in music, in speech and debate. Everyone's going to have a different gift, and we have to help those kids find what that outlet is. That's why I'm very excited about all of the stuff that 50 Cent is bringing. And we got to hold him accountable. Because a lot of the things that he's been talking about, a lot of nonprofits and leaders and people talked about those things, and no one would hear it. And now when 50 Cent comes, it's like a light bulb. Like, dang, we've been talking about this for a while. So sometimes it takes an outsider coming in, and sometimes we have to say, you know what, we ain't offended. We've been saying the same thing over and over again. So long as it gets done, it gets done. Yeah.
I want to go back to the mental illness piece. You know, we say this all the time about mental illness, and we are suffering from mental illness, post-slave mental illness, because a lot of this stuff is handed down through the generations based on the slave master did to the grandparent, to the foreparent, then it brings it in and it exists in the children today. Because you have to be crazy to drive by a house, not knowing who's in that house, and just open fire on the house. Now, who with good sense want to shoot a house? But that's the mental capacity of it. But another thing, we have got to stop talking to our youth so much and take the time to listen. You'd be surprised how many youth have the solution to the problem that we sit there pondering and wondering how to solve. They could give you the solution, but nobody bothers to sit down and listen. We're too busy talking to them and not listening. So that's another component. We're going to have to learn to listen as so-called elderly people. But the next thing we have to do, you got to create a desire in people. You just can't ask our young people to give up this and give up that, and you don't have nothing in place for them other than just to give it up. You got to have an alternative in place. And we gotta put ourselves in a position The NAACP cannot be the savior, just like 50 cents is not going to be the savior for Shreveport. The NAACP is not going to be the savior for our youth. But we have got to have things in place, businesses, this and that in place. So when we find a troubled youth that really want out, we have something to offer him other than a lot of pretty words. You see what I'm saying? That's what's hurting us. We used to go to the church and could get some things accomplished through the churches. Pastor could call somebody, make a phone call to help a troubled kid. You see what I'm saying? But we don't have that now. We don't have that now. We've lost that moral component in our community. We have got to get back to basics. I don't care what you say. Mental illness is running rapid because, like Nesto said down there, people they don't talk about it. Mental illness has always been in the black community, but it was something that families kept to the family, in the family. Now it's just out there in the wide open. Why do you think these people are sleeping on these benches and things like that? Because mental illness. But back in the day, a family had moral values and love for their family members. They kept them in a place. Even if it was in a shed behind the house, they kept you. You wasn't out there exposed. And we don't do that now. If you find you got a mental problem, I'm finna show you that door. Get your crazy so-and-so away from around me. But we got to go back to basics. And basics is we got to start back. Not say we care, but show care and in action to help our young people. Because young people are not dumb. They talking a bunch of BS. That's what they said. We talk a bunch of BS. Got to give them some substance, fellas.
Well, this brother down here is a real busy man, you know what I'm saying?
It ain't me. The camera got like 10 more minutes left.
Oh, all right. So, yeah, anything y'all want to say in conclusion to our audience before we get up out of here?
Yeah, I want to encourage everybody, man. Like I said, to join something bigger and greater than yourself. A lot of times folks can sit on that side, and talk about what they would do if it were them. Right. Well, we inviting you to come and be a part of them. The NAACP, man, it costs $30 a year to join. $30 a year to join. And so we're asking people to join the NAACP. The Shreveport branch. All you got to do is go to NAACP.org. NAACP.org. Click on that menu button. It's going to ask you what branch you want to join. You want to join the Shreveport branch 6078B. 6078B. Come and join the NAACP. Be a part of the movement. Don't just stand out there and talk about it. Come on, get on the team and be about it. Don't stand on the sidelines and watch the game being played. Come on, jump in the game with us and help us to get this stuff done.
For sure.
In closing, I'd just like to say it's about using Alvin pastor phrase, and we are better together. Until we take that to heart and not just say that, really mean it when we say we're better together. When we mean it, we're going to get some results.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And Robert, you said something earlier about class. I just want to say there's two Shreveports. There's blacks that's made it, and there's black folks that's still in the hood. And one thing that impressed me, and I want to definitely acknowledge our president and our vice president. I'm not from Shreveport, but I know they came up really, really hard.
Yes, sir.
And they made it out. And what really impressed me and really made me come on board and be a part of this ticket is that they're still fighting. Even though they made it out, even though, Alvin got a nice big old house, he's still...
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
He's still fighting. So I want to make a charge to those people that have made it out and you got your nice house, your car, you're living in your gated community. A lot of your cousins still back in the hood. Yeah. A lot of your family we left behind. So I want to make a charge to all those people that made it out. I need you to look back, reach back, and come back and help the others. And that's what we have to do in order for us to make it.
Yeah. Because one day, Robert, my last words is one day we gotta stop living in a glass house, stop living in a bubble. Because one day trouble gonna knock on your door.
And I want to say this. Like, people gotta understand, like, in this day and age, people want instant gratification. Like, everybody, it takes some people longer than others to get their stuff together. Like you said, you had your troubles early on. Yeah. Everybody's not gonna reach the finish line at the same time. You know what I'm saying? No. You gotta stop looking at other people and focus on yourself. You know what I'm saying? And try to. It's not gonna happen tomorrow. You got to put in the work.
Yes,
People
sir.
want a cheat code to success. It's not a cheat code. You got to work and you got to want it.
Right.
The race is not given to the swift, but to the one that endured to the end.
Yeah.
You want to take us out on anything?
Man.
Yeah.
He put me on the spot.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I like it. You the voice.
Man, what I got in my arsenal, man. You know what? I'm gonna do something a little different because one thing we didn't talk about, but we know that it's here. One thing that it is our foundation is God, and I believe because no matter what we do, we know that He sits high, and He looks low, and so we are all men of faith. We pray before our meetings, and we know that we pray and we give it to God, and we are all men of faith. So that's just important. So I'm gonna do something a little different. I love you, Lord, today because you cared for me in such a special way. That's why I praise you, I lift you up, and I magnify your name. That's why my heart is filled with praise.
Amen.
Boy, Pacman.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's your boy Pacman and his voice box.
And it's your boy Nesto the Done.
this ain't my business, but
It is my business.